Welcome everyone to episode 159 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and I am delighted to be here with you again. A few things before I jump to my colleagues. Thank you for all the subs before in the pre-show. Arrow for a sub, Raw Life for a gifted sub, Cyndaquil got several gifted subs, 6 I believe. Summon Biscuits, Soraya the Ranger gifted sub. Some Girl subbed, Diggs, Shura subbed, Dark Demon, and Infamous Element. Thank you for all the subs. Hey, we're doing a sub campaign. You all may know that I hate Porum. I hate her face. I hate her voice. I hate everything about the twins. And so I did say on Discord earlier today that I would use tickets for every sub that we get. I will pull 10 tickets until I get her stupid LD. And if I get her LD, I will use her on Transcendence 3. Begrudgingly, but I sure will. I do have Palom, and maybe I'll use them together. How many subs for me to use both of them on? I don't know. Let's see. I will maybe. Yeah, if we get enough and I end up pulling her LD, we already got like 140 tickets. So apparently I'm going. Maybe I'll use them both. I'll use both the twins. They do actually work together quite well. So maybe I can put them on the one tier there. So. Or on the one side of the gate. Hey, we got a lot to talk about tonight. I do want to shout out our TCC challenges are continuously going. At DissidiaInfo.com, you can submit your call to arms and see all of our TCC challenge winners. We do have winners for distant seas. Since I've been traveling and with family every Thursday, I have not had time to do all of that and trying to still do the layouts here. But I do want to shout out all of you who are doing TCC challenge runs, great runs. You can come to our Discord and see all those videos. Check those people out. They do great work. There's some really creative stuff, and it's a lot of fun to kind of see them come in. So go to Dissidia Info and check out those TCC runs, or just pop on our Discord and see them as they come in, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, I'm not alone. Back from the great mountains, from isolation and loneliness and not great internet is Arole. Arrow, how are you doing? Welcome back.
Yeah, I am happy to be back, Mark. I enjoyed my time in the mountains. It was super rural out where I'm at, and I just had a blast. I'll be talking more all about my trip, though, tomorrow when I stream 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got to do some content, so we'll be catching up then. And that's pretty much it that I got to say. And I think we have one other fine host here tonight as well. How about you introduce them, Mark?
Yeah, and straight from In and Out is our minimum wage monkey, Mino Spellgood. Mino, how are you doing? Just a chill day, nothing to talk about, right?
I think I'm doing good. I'm gonna go with good. Things have just been extremely busy in both a good and bad way. I don't want to get into it because, this is a DFFOO podcast, but things technically opened up.
Yeah.
So, quote unquote, dating has resumed, but also, like, things shut down again. So work has been killing, like, it's never ending fucking nightmare, guys. Like, seriously. Can we just fucking get over this pandemic so I don't have to work so hard? This is so ridiculous. I'm pulling crazy overtime again because of this shit. They're fucking ridiculous.
I believe I heard you on the Ranting Hour last night. Check out Black Nero on YouTube. One of our good friends does a wonderful Ranting Hour every night, every Wednesday night on YouTube. And I believe Drew Zane was on that, our friend Drew Zane, and Necklord and Mino. And yes, you were obviously every night. Black Cloud does a Ranting Hour every single night. Oh, every night on YouTube. No, every Wednesday night, just once a week, although he does almost do daily videos. And so that helps the analytics, I'm sure. But the Ranting Hour is live every Wednesday night. And so I think it's about 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time or Central Standard Time here, different for your time zone. But yeah, you did mention several times that people just should get vaccinated, and I am 100% in agreement. Regardless of your political affiliations, this isn't politics. This is science and basic human decency. Get your vaccines and shut up about it and just live at your house and don't go out or do anything if you don't. But that's it. You can be upset about that and anything else. But as someone who has children who, at least one of whom is very medically at risk and cannot get vaccinated, I certainly would appreciate if you did, and I certainly did as I deal with people who are at risk and people who are old and people who have health conditions all the time, and I'm in and out of nursing homes and hospitals, and so I got mine as soon as I could and have had it for several months now. So encourage you all. I've survived. Everybody I know who's got it survived. No ill effects, and I don't know anybody of the hundreds or thousands of people I know who have gotten it personally who doesn't. And I am still wearing a mask when I go out in public. Very truthfully, it's because my kids have to wear masks. I just feel in solidarity with them, and I could care less. I actually like wearing a mask because my facial expressions are pretty easy to see. That's one of the reasons I have a beard. Without a beard, you could see exactly what I'm thinking, and so I love wearing a mask because I like to think badly about people when I'm out on the street. No, no, that's not true, but it doesn't bother me at all. My whole thing, just before we get into the show, and we are, my whole thing as a United Methodist elder and pastor, first rule of our whole denomination and our faith is do no harm. And so anything I can do that does not harm other people, that's what we can be about. So if wearing a mask helps prevent me from doing harm, great, I'm going to do it. Getting a vaccine helps me not do harm to others. I'm going to do it. That's what I'm about. I understand that may not be what you're about, but seems like a small thing that I can do and that we can do to help each other as a human race. And yes, we are definitely here in this country privileged to even have the opportunity to get vaccines, because I have colleagues and friends all around the world in places that are not as privileged and are not able to get it. So thank you to all of you who have. We don't hate anyone who hasn't and has everything else, but please really consider it and really spend some time thinking about it, because it will help all of us. And I think not just me, get a little bit easier life at work, but really, I've buried a lot of people.
Come on. This is fucking ridiculous. Right. These last 2 years have been death.
I have put a lot of people in the ground because of COVID, and unfortunately that continues. So I would rather not do that anymore, because my work's been crazy. No, that's not why I don't like to do it. So hey, if you want to support us, we are so grateful for that. You all know I hate Purim, I hate Palom. And so everyone who subs tonight or gives a sub, I will pull 10 tickets up until I get that LD. So right now we're at 14, so that's quite a lot. So thank you for all your support. You want to throw a sub, support us at Twitch. That's the best way. If you're listening online, listening video on demand, listening on YouTube, listening on your favorite podcast app, the best way to support us right now is through Twitch, a Twitch sub, a Twitch Prime sub, a gifted sub. How many subs to pity? Like use gems, summon biscuits? Is that your question? I'm 40, so I just turned 40. So if we get 40 subs, I'll use gems. How about that? So we're at 14. If we get to 40, I'll switch from tickets to gems, because 40 subs would be. Thank you, Raylos.
Now that I'm back on the fucking podcast too, you guys can throw subs at me to make me pull. Go for it. I don't care. Name a number. 5. Give me 5 subs. I'll pay. I don't care. I'm not running out of gems. Jesus.
Thank you, Jeff. So 40. Well, I will use tickets no matter what. But 40, definitely do that. Yeah. Yes. So let's move on from that to news of the day. As I keep up with subs, thank you, Soraya, for the extra gifted sub. Couple game updates and known issues. You can always check on your eye. Oh, the game's updated. Sorry. You can always check on that eye that I just pressed before the game was updated. to see the news of the day. I know most of you probably don't read that. That's why you're listening to a podcast, so we can tell you that. And there is a couple known issues, and one big known issue is brave damage up from the number of debuffs effect is not working correctly. So there's a few characters where they get additional brave damage if they have debuffs. So if there's 4 debuffs, they get additional brave damage per debuff. Cypher is one of those characters. I believe Kefka is one of those characters. That is not working correctly. That is a known issue. So that's nice. Cypher is currently on a banner, and so hopefully they will fix that soon. There's also, very excitingly, finally a blue, I'm going to call it a blue armor pack sale, because I never remember the actual names of those things. And if I called it a high armor sale, that wouldn't be quite right. So to get a blue armor, to take your high armor and realize it and then invest ingots into it, those very limited resources you have, there is actually a bundle where you can buy the bundle with a book and 2 ingots and 12,000 gems. It's like $75 here in the United States. It's ridiculous, but it is finally, and I believe I said, I don't know if I was just talking in our private channel or if I shared it on the podcast, but I said the best time to bring it is going to be during this triple BT banner, because there's 3 new armors, favorite characters, Transcendence, and it's a good time to get people to buy. So thank you, Squex, for listening to me. And I will be buying that package. It is super overpriced and probably not worth it, but I appreciate that you allowed me to spend money to become superior over my peers. So, Arrow, any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's pretty cool. I guess HA's, at least now with blue armors, with the extra books and everything, it's nice. At least it gives you an extra one if you buy even like what I guess the big pack only comes with the book and the 2 of them. Yeah, I'm not into it, but I mean, if you've got money to blow and this sounds good to you, you got dumber things. At least they give you a proper amount of gems in these packs, it looks like. So it's not like how like some of the packs are where they give you like, here's the thing, but like hardly any gems. I think there's like what is it? Those sphere ones are kind of like that. I don't remember. But hey, you get a nice stack of gems and a bunch of goodies. If you're into that and you got money to spend, there's dumber things I guess you can do with your money and blow it. What about you, Mino?
I debated buying it, but as I said last week, if it came earlier, I would have bought it for sure. $20 packs, no problem. Throw a $20 pack, get another high armor. I would have done it if it came earlier. So I'm not going to tell them how to do their job, because their analysts probably have something, like maybe they waited on it so people would panic gotcha pull for the Lufania clears or some shit. I don't know their numbers, but I'm saying personally, I definitely would have spent more money if it came earlier, but at this point, I'm not tempted to anymore, because I bought high armors for like every BT candidate, and I still have like 200 left over. No, every BT candidate plus some, right? Like plus favorites like Sabin. No, wait, no, that's not out yet. Plus some extras like here and there, like I think I got some for Palom and whatever LDs I pulled. I got one for Cypher, and I still have 200 left over. So I really don't feel the need now. But I swear to God, if that came, like when did they start being introduced? 2, 3, 4 months ago?
Yeah.
I would have bought them like every round for $20 easy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm just saying, personally, missed out on my demographic. I'm not sure if they're hitting a sweet spot somewhere, but it's not appealing to me anymore.
Yeah, so Jake asks how many subs to make Mino buy the blue armor pack. Probably
20.
Just 20. I was going to say 150. I was trying to run the numbers in my head. We could probably afford to buy Arrow and Mino blue armor packs for about $150. So 150 subs, I mean.
Yeah, let's do it. 150 subs tonight.
150 subs. 150 subs. I will send Mino and Arrow $75 so they can get it. All right. Also, Scott Ong messaged me today while I was out, and just wanted everyone to be reminded that the Dimensions End Transcendence support campaign is ongoing. These happen throughout Japan, and they allow us to get some pretty nice prizes. So just like Dimensions End Entropy had rewards where depending on what tier you got extra gems or resources. This also gives you, if until August 6th, although it will come back and you can do it later, if you beat each of the tiers of Transcendence, Dimensions and Entropy Transcendence, you will get bonus gems. So if you've already beaten Transcendence 1 and 2, you already got free 10,000 gems. If you beat Transcendence 3 by August 6th, you get 10,000 more gems. So 20,000 gems. Thank you, Squex. Awesome. Again, don't feel you need to rush to do that because... if you're spending 150,000 gems to get 20,000 gems, it's not a good investment, obviously. But for those of us who have kept up on Transcendence or can do it fairly easy, maybe you haven't done it, but you got all the pieces, you just need to sit down and do it. Might be some good incentive to do that, get 20,000 gems and just go away. This will come back later on, I believe, in Japan as they add additional tiers. They'll do campaigns like this. Jake, I do not know. That would be a question like I think Scott may know or Black Nero. There's a few others. VL maybe might know kind of how often that happens. If any of our JP players are in chat and you know kind of how often that happens, you can share that as well. But very cool. Thank you. Appreciate Squex for doing that. And we'll talk about Transcendence as that launches here in 38 minutes. And so we won't have done it, but we will be able to walk you through some of it tonight. So we want to do that. Well, let's talk about our first event, which we had last week, and that's Kurosawa's lost chapter, The Ice Reaper. This brought Kurosawa back and also allowed us to get Cypher's LD. So let's talk about these two characters. The first is the Tonberry loving teacher from Type 0, my favorite character from Type 0, because who cares? But I do like Kurosawa. I like how they portray him here in Defo as well. Now, Kurosawa got his LD boards, and with his LD boards, he actually is able to enchant the entire party with the ice element. So before he was an ice element character that did imperil ice, now he is a party-wide enchant imperiler. He also provides elemental damage up, which is new, and of course he has that really cool debuff which provides HP damage up per stack up to 30%. So he's pretty much the same. He plays exactly the same. No tuning pass in terms of any really big major changes to a kit. He's pretty straightforward. You press the buttons you need to press when you need to press them. Manage your stack mechanics if he's in your party. But he does become very, very useful in this era of the game in your party as another enchant imperiler, damage up character, support character. That being said, now he has the ability, of course, to be an LD call. So he has a LD and regular call ability. Both of his call abilities, because if you have him fully upgraded, I don't know if that comes from his LD fully upgraded or his EX. I think maybe from his LD fully upgraded. If your character's fully upgraded, he applies that frame debuff as he enters the field. So every enemy will get 2 stacks of the what's it called? Hydoro or whatever. What's the name of the Mino?
Hyoro.
Yeah, that one. That debuff, his debuff. You know the debuff. That one. He will apply. He will apply 2 stacks of it to all enemies. It goes up to 5, but just by coming in. Now, if you use his skill 1 or his regular call ability, that adds 1 to the ability or to the enemy that it targets. If you bring in his LD, it applies then 5 stacks to all of them. So you can use it both. You can elongate it to 12 turns, but not the full 5 stacks on 12 turns, or Silo's saying you need him EX 2 out of 3. Thank you. Yeah, Pikachu's in trouble. You got to use some ingots if you want
Actually, I
that.
saw a lot of questions about that on main court, right? People are like, why isn't my call applying it? And they're like, did you MLB
Yeah,
the EX? And they're like, no. So
yeah,
you actually have to invest in your calls,
yeah.
guys.
I thought it was a tie to his EX, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Hmm.
So and now his regular call ability does a self enchant with ice and attack and max brave up. His LD call does party wide enchant elemental weakness up as well. It's only for 3 turns, but it's a great short window. His debuff is for 6 turns every time it's applied, and so that is amazing. Arguably one of the best calls, if not the best call in the game. You will probably use it forever. That HP damage up never goes out of style. The enchant imperil for limited windows can be useful at times, but it's that debuff that he applies that is really, really, really good. The elemental weakness and the enchant imperil is kind of, the cherry on the sundae, of course, but arguably the best call in the game. If you don't have him, probably worth investing in, probably worth even using gems on. I already had him. I'm sure a lot of us already had him because he was pretty hyped the first time around. So, yeah. Yeah. Arrow, any thoughts about Kurosame?
I did pull on this banner trying to get Cypher, but I wound up with Kurosame. It's still like a repeat of like the Amada-Tellian thing. I had neither, and I was cool with getting both, but I only wind up with one from tickets. I think he's pretty good. I don't know how viable he'll be main party, but like it is hard to deny how good the call is. Did we want to discuss the call thing yet, or are we just talking general thoughts right now? Just want to make sure.
You can talk either and.
Either and. Perfect. I have more to say about the CA. I know people feel like, oh, I should pull this for the CA. Kind of like with Jack. I thought Jack was pretty good in the main party though when he got his LD. I used him quite a bit. But I just don't think there's ever like you must pull for this call ability. Like you can win without it. I mean, people win all the time without Jack. I mean, I don't even always use Jack call. It depends on the fight, like there's been plenty of other previously thought must-haves too. Any of these other previous HP up damage up calls. There's been Gabranth, there's been Ignis, so far for calls. And, I don't want to downplay too much on the call, but just be aware that like, maybe you should think of it more like, do I want this character more like in general? There's amazing calls, but like just purely pulling for call potential to me has proven to be kind of a silly thing. And last thing, I'll champion the no Kurosame call saga for you guys, just as proof. I'm pretty sure it's been done already in JP, but hey, I'll do it for global. How about that?
Yeah, Final Asim says to date, Kurosame LD still hasn't rerun on a regular banner. He reran with the all character LD banner. There's a banner with all the current LDs. But the rates on that, of course, aren't great. Forget one. He reran with a triple LD banner with Setzer, Zidane, and Kurosame. So it could be a long time. And there were, now, of course, one call ability is not going to make or break your life, but there have been players in the Japanese version of the game who have been on record as saying, true or not true, this is their opinion, that they could not beat content because they did not have Kurosame's call. So that may be a little over dramatic, very truthfully. But that was what people said. Like, oh, I couldn't do it because I didn't have Kurosame's call. Or if I had Kurosame's call, I could have beaten it. Probably, again, a little over dramatic. And we are very creative and we'll find it. But, man, for something that you can bring on anybody and will help every run, yeah, probably worth it. Mina, what do you think about pulling for calls? Or I know you were up on Jack versus Kurosame, but where are you right now?
Yeah, no, right. I got schooled last week on the post show, right? Not only on the post show, but the ranting hour as well, because I do no research, and clearly I've learned that Kurosame is an extremely, extremely, extremely powerful call. To even go against Mark, I wouldn't even say. What did Mark say? He said arguably one of the best. No, it looks like it's hands down the best call you can get up to JP now because I underestimated 30%. It's 30%
Yeah.
HP damage, right?
Yeah, it can go up. It can go up to 30% HP damage at 5 stacks, and then 30% weakness damage.
Not only have I underestimated the 30% HP damage up, but it's also Party Enchant Imperil, which is an extra 50% brave damage, and then an extra increased weakness brave damage done.
And Party Attack and Overflow.
Yeah, it's actually
that's 3 turns.
Really, it's actually really fucking ridiculous. And for all the listeners out there, 30% is how much Kadaj EX got hit by. He is 30% less effective because his EX is charging 30% slower. So let's just throw that out there of how much 30% matters, right? 30% of
a big deal.
30% of a 100-turn run is
where's
30 fucking turns. You're cutting 30 turns off your run.
Where's Inkwelder? Just because Inkwelder loves metaphors. So if you're shopping at Kohl's, right, and you get one of those catalogs at home from Kohl's.
Oh my god!
With the pull off tab, you know what you want. Do you want 10%, 20%, or 30%? You really want the 30%. 30%'s a big deal. Hey, Silo has a question. He used his Q&A points. Thank you, his Chocobo points. Which one is more important to you, HP damage up or brave damage up? Great question.
Let me tackle this. I'll throw it to Mark, but I was arguing HP damage. I was arguing brave damage up with Jack over the HP damage up. Then I learned not only does Kurosame give you the HP damage up, he also gives you more brave damage up. Than Jack. Jack gives you defense down, which can matter in certain situations, but Kurosame is giving you like 80% brave damage up with his 30%. Oh, and you know, attack and overflow increase as well. So shit. In this specific case, it depends on your team, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I want to get to when we talk about Porum. Porum versus Setzer is brave damage versus HP damage.
Yep.
Or brave damage versus battery, which you know translates into HP damage, which means brave damage up will do nothing for battery teams, and HP damage up will do nothing for shaving. So it really, really, really depends. I know Tonberry Troupe is a big fan of HP damage up over brave damage. I'll let you guys decide, but I'm going to say context-wise. But Kurosame does both. But back to you, Mark.
Black Cloud Stripe Black Nero on YouTube is saying HP damage is universal. Brave damage is limited to brave damage. Because you have to have characters who are doing brave hits to really take advantage of multiple brave damage up, as opposed to everybody's doing HP. But
since we take all corrections, Macnell say, I don't want to sound like a math hole, but if you need 100 turns to kill a boss, a 30% HP damage bonus would only save you 23 turns, not 30. So
there you go.
You know,
still
big difference. I'll take the correction, but the point is, it's a huge fucking difference. And I will say, like, I think me, Zeno, and BC, we really turned around the last couple of months because, you know, the whole Jack debacle about, oh, should you pity for a call is such a meme thrown around. And then eventually BC and I came around on this because Zeno said, and BC quotes this quite a bit, Zeno said, I use some calls way more than I ever use some characters in my party.
Yeah.
So to me, that's worth it. We both agreed. Not only did we both agree wholeheartedly, but the fact is a 30% fucking HP up and 80% brave damage up and enchant imperil and attack and overflow, it will let you get so much jank through. That will shave so many turns off of your fucking runs that you can pull less overall because you can run weaker teams through, period. And, you know, TCC challenges, the only thing that matter. So, like, I'm all for, if you have the gems, pity Kurosame. probably a better investment than fucking Tifa. Let's be fucking real.
But I mean, so like everybody and their mom's gonna pity Porum, right? Not everybody, obviously, but you know, Porum's a super hype character. People are gonna pity Porum. They're gonna use her on tier 3 and probably not use her again for 2 months. And then by the time Lufania Plus even comes, they're not gonna use her. And so you spent 75,000 gems potentially for a character you probably aren't going to like. You probably will hate how she plays. You used her once versus, you know, Kurosame, who you're going to use every single fight, every damn time.
Yes.
For the next year. Yeah. I said that with Jack, too. I mean.
Yeah. Mark, addressing chat, too. Macnol and BC are saying. So BC is saying HP damage up is universal.
Yeah.
Like, there's no fight you wouldn't want that, no team that doesn't want that.
Right.
So there's no reason not to bring Kurosame in literally every fight. And Macnol's saying, I wholeheartedly agree on hyping OP calls instead of OP team characters, since their longevity is much, much longer. So, you know, bunch of community experts weighing in here.
Yeah.
I would totally say the 75k gems. No, 70k gems, guys.
It's
you get a
free,
fucking discount.
Yeah,
He does have a free pool. Congrats,
so you know, go for it.
And you might get Setzer or Setzer. You might get Setzer. That's on a different banner. You might get Cypher, who we're going to talk about next. Woohoo! Cypher gets an LD. I don't have him, and I before today I didn't really have any idea what he did. Oh yeah, Cypher's in this game. He threw debuffs and did things. Was he elemental? I didn't even remember. But yes, he does. He does wind element damage. Like, I could not remember anything that he did because he's always been fairly underwhelming in my thing. He does range damage, though. But he gets an LD, and with his LD, a new buff and a new debuff that does make him much more interesting. His new buff allows him, when he's attacking any character with his new debuff, the debuff is called Foul, and all his debuffs are pretty good debuffs, actually, when they stack up together.
Very good, yeah.
And now we got the increased debuff, so it's really nice. You know, he's got the speed down and the reduced brave damage to 0. That was his EX buff. He's only 1 turn, but he can prevent incoming damage. And then he gets this new Foul debuff, defense down, brave gains up, brave gain down and sap, very nice. And then he gets regular attack, brave, max brave down and defense down on top of those that are unframed. But when that foul is up and he is attacking, he delays all the targets by 1 turn. So Cypher has become your AoE delay god. I mean, he's doing tons of delays, 1 turn at a time, with his AoE. You know, skill 1 does AoE hits, skill 2 does AoE hits, EX does AoE hits, LD does AoE hits and delays the enemy, and then with that buff debuff interaction, everything he's doing is delaying. So I actually think he and he's got a new bug too. We did talk about that at the beginning of the show, but I think he's probably quite underrated. I did not pull him. I do not have him. But I could see, you know, people love the delay strategy. There's going to be some other delayers coming up. But if you don't have some of the big delayers and you would like them or like to use them, or you just really like that style of play, if you don't have RNA, you don't have Garland and kind of want a delay character, you know, not good. Somebody's asking, you know, is Cypher better than Garland? Yeah, depends on if you're going to use Garland's BT, very truthfully. Because Garland's BT is really good. But I think he's underrated. I don't have him. I don't have any practical experience with him, but I think if you get him because you're chasing Kurosame, I don't think you'll be disappointed in using him. Arrow, do you have any experience with Cypher?
I got him. He looks really fun, but yeah, I got Kurosame. But you know, you win some, you lose some. Can't complain. I have seen some videos with him, and like I said, he just looks really fun, and he looks really, really solid. Super good AoE guy. I have a couple of other things. He's good for he's like one of those characters where you can pair him in a lot of interesting ways, because not only does he do this delay thing, so he fits in great with other delay strategies. You can lean closer to his debuff side if you wanted to, and put like other debuffs that match up with what he already does. Like what he has, like that attack down, the embrave down, and the defense down. You can have some fun with that too. You can stack around with that. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's there as another option. And If you don't want to do either, you can still play Cypher, have some light delay, and a really good AoE attacker, just pair him with the other characters like, I don't know, Ignis, or something like that. Or I guess if you want to, Kurosame call, you can have all that fun. So it's one of those characters. I love that you can pair him up pretty well, despite the fact he does have some wind tie, elemental ties, I think, on just skill 1. I don't think
skill 1. Yep.
It's just skill 1. So he still works fine with enchanters, guys. And then of course you can pair him with his buddies if you wanted to, like Fujin and Raijin, if you're into that kind of thing, just for fun. It's just a nice character where you can blend him in so well with so many different strategies. And you still don't even have to worry about that. You just go, hey, do a bunch of damage with AoE and delay everything. So, I mean, that could still be really nice, even on its own. Thumbs up to this character. Very, very solid. Definitely, if you were hero gymming, you would not regret getting, one or both of these characters on the banner. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, seems like a Jin Lee kind of character with his debuffs there. But Mino, do you have any thoughts on Cypher?
Yeah, Cypher's not my type of character, but he brings a lot to the table. I don't think he's a bad pickup at all. Like Mark said, a lot of people really like the delay strategy. Cypher is the AoE delay king. Played right, 100% uptime every single turn. He should be delaying everybody. And his debuffs are very, very respectable. 40%, 50% attack max brave across the board. Very, very, very solid. So even if, they have frame turns, the debuffs can stack up well. His AoE damages very well. His EX cancels damage like 9, and everyone was hyping 9 up forever and not using him. So, he brings a lot to the table. Not someone I would gun for personally. Not someone I'm going to run a lot personally. Because, I like Eldnarsh. Eldnarsh Saga is still going strong through these TCC challenges right now. But but they're diametric opposites. But I understand Cypher's value. There can be big brain plays with him, big fat delays. As people saw in the current fight, paired with Garland, most times you'll never see another turn. Yeah. That's just it. With some backup, he checks several orbs because wind element delay is very, very good. Amazing Brave Shaver because when the bug is fixed, it's 10% per debuff on the target, right? Which is 80% Brave damage up, potentially. 60 per on his own, it's like 30-40%. Very, very good.
And there's some conversation in chat right now. Yes, because of the bug that his Brave damage is not interacting like it should with debuffs, his damage is lower than it should be right now. So his damage should be higher than it currently is.
Yes. So his Brave shaving is actually very, very legitimately strong. And as Eamon's pointing out, right, like I mentioned the EX, it's basically a people love Beatrix for what's it called? Saint's Cloth Cloud or whatever shit. Cypher has that on the EX. Very repeatable. Like I said, like 9, you can just basically cancel an attack. It's even better than 9's because it cancels all Brave gain, period, and locks them at 0. And I checked ahead. Nothing is immune to that moving forward. So with good play, it can work. Pretty big brain character. A lot of people said that they like the recommendations geared towards veterans and new players or how your roster is built. For a new player, he covers roles. I wouldn't say he's the easiest to max out his utility. For a veteran, you probably have other people. Like most people will probably stick with Garland, as Mark was saying.
Hey, we have breaking news. The bug, which we just mentioned, has been resolved. So Kefka's EX now works correctly. Kefka's additional ability now works correctly. Laguna's additional ability now works correctly. Cypher's EX ability now works correctly. And Vanille's EX ability now works correctly. So no apology, Gems. So that sucks. But all of those characters now are correctly working.
It doesn't actually work. They said they have noticed it, though. And the characters will be addressed in a later update. Just to clarify, guys. To clarify.
They're not working, But those are the characters that aren't working, the ones that I just said.
Wait. No, Mark's right? I'm looking at this. Addressed issue. As of July 23rd, 2021,
Yeah, it
the
says
following
fixed.
issue has
Yeah.
been
No,
identified and
with the
fixed.
yellow text. It says it'll be addressed at a later date.
Following affected characters and no, the yellow text says the above issue was fixed for the following affected characters and corresponding abilities in the data update on July 23rd.
Okay, got you. It says other affected characters. There's some others they say will be fixed in a later update. Who else is there? Edgar or something? I think he had something like that, but I thought that one worked. He's like the only other character I literally can think of.
Yeah, so it is fixed. It is fixed.
Fixed. Yeah.
It is fixed. Others,
Jeez, they made that more confusing than they had to.
others might be broken
God.
that we don't know about. Hard to say. Hey, let's go to the podcast polls for this. Of course, thank you to Quetzalma Materiabot. You can go to our Discord and always check out the podcast polls. We appreciate that. Submit your podcast polls to the ones that you've missed, as we have a couple more coming up today. But 2 people were willing to pity the BT on this. 33 willing to pity the LD. Which one? Who knows? 22 using gems wantingly, and 87 tickets and 106 skipping. I figured a lot of people had Kurosawa from the first tuning pass. That brings us to Alufania.
Oh, sorry, Mark.
Go ahead.
Before we move on, Macno brought up a really good point. I just want to squeeze into the episode. Cypher also has, thank you, Macno. Cypher also has the big strength that since he keeps delaying his enemies, he has more time to recharge his EX to nullify their attacks. So you have a lot of wiggle room compared to Beatrix to, cancel big attacks coming up because of his constant delays. Very, very, very strong. But go ahead.
Yeah, so the Lufania fight was against 2 Devil Hornets, and their orb is a delay orb. So it boops up when they are delayed, and you want to delay them because you don't want them to do damage to you because it sucks. So you don't want them to take turns. They can kill you really quickly. So that's a big pain in the butt. So the best way to do that is to not let them act. And how do you do that? Well, you have Cypher, who can delay them forever. You also have characters like Garland and Aranea and even Emperor and tons of launchers, and Leo also launches and delays with his abilities as well. Has turn manipulation. Kais has turn manipulation as well. So there's a lot of characters that you can use. There are ways to do it, especially now, I believe, with the reworked and or LD boarded Warrior of Light. There are some more options before, but Tifa's ability as well delays and is Tifa's just doing a ton of damage, so she's useful here as well. But anybody who can take consecutive turns, anything you can do to not give them turns is probably the ideal fight. There's always fights like this occasionally where you just don't want them to have turns. Now, it is possible to give them turns if you have a lot of mitigation.
No, it ignores mitigation there. Plus
yeah, it ignores a lot of mitigation, doesn't it? I'm trying
it ignores full. But the trick, I'll give my tidbits for the fight. So guys, we don't cover the whole fights anymore, but I can throw in the tidbits if you're trying to do the TCC challenge.
Yeah,
and shame and shame the fuck on you if you're not, because this is easier than ever to do the TCC challenges right now. But the so what it is they cleanse debuffs if you disable their turns above 80%. So if you HP attack silence or paralyze or terror, they will full cleanse and then try to on their turn and then try to kill you. Once you push them past 80% and the orb disappears, this goes away though. So you can still squeeze Eldnarsh through. We had a lot of bullshit Eldnarsh runs through there because you just have to bum rush them through 80% and then you're in the clear. And the second thing to note is that as long as it doesn't interfere, as long as it doesn't skip their turn, the debuffs will still stick. So another thing a lot of people were getting through this killer attack was either blinds via Kimari and Waka or brave freezes like Golbez and Waka. And so there are ways around it. After you get through 80%, they have no more big mechanics. No thresholds, no fucking, surprise mechanics, no more insta kills. It's smooth sailing after the 80%.
Yeah.
Mm.
But obviously, the best way to do it is just to delay them forever and not have to worry about that. But yes, if you're doing a TCC challenge.
On. Fucking Scott on. What about weight? Yeah, okay, so there's a weight mechanic. I forgot. Sorry, Scott on. You're right. I'm mad at you. I'm more mad at myself. I forgot. Right. They have a Lael mechanic from the Lael fight where they'll pop an aura and take reduced brave damage unless you do a certain amount of damage in launch. Right. I'm so sorry, Scott. You rightfully called me out.
And thank you to our friends Lids87 for the raid. Check out our friend Lids on YouTube and on Twitch. Welcome, Lids folks. Feel free to give us a follow. This is the Crystal Chronicles podcast, recording episode 159. Welcome, welcome. Moving through the stuff of the day. All your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. Arrow, any thoughts on this this fight and these stupid bugs?
It's one of those fights where, like, if you do the delay thing and you're really good at keeping them from ever getting a turn, it's one of those, it's super easy fights. If you decide to actually play against the mechanics, it gets a little trickier. So, yeah, I didn't have a lot of time because I just came back from vacation, y'all. So I just went and bum rushed it with Cloud Aranea and who was that third? I'm trying to remember now. Kais. There we go. Yeah, I went with that as my strategy. I beat it right on 60 turns today. And I had a Lael friend. That was it. Okay, so yeah, it's a pretty tight fight. It's 60 turns. I can't believe that. I was like, oh my gosh, could they have given us 65 at least? But no, of course not. They want you to use newer characters and all that good stuff. But yeah, so it's either an easy fight or hard fight. I think Mino covered so much else that I was already going to say. But did they still continue? I didn't even notice if they still did that ice damage thing. Did you even need to bring that? Because I know there was like
they still do it. Yeah.
Okay, so they still do it. So yeah, if you want to cover that, I think you only got to do that one time as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could bring something even as stupid as Onion Call for that, and I did. So I happened to apply that too.
Or Kurosame's Call.
Yeah, or Kurosame. But the thing is, if you bring Onion LD, you'll hit both of them right away. I don't think Kurosame. Well, I think his LD will, but his base call won't. So it's the same as Onion.
His base call is Ice Enchant to the character.
All right, so there you go. You can get both of them. So yeah, if you don't have Kurosame, I hadn't built mine all the way yet. I just used Onion because I like the idea of the turn manipulation, and I did need it actually, oddly, for my run. So I was really glad to have him there. But yeah, it's a really tight fight damage wise, depending on what you're running. With the delay strategies, it's very interesting, I guess, in that sense. But honestly, the whole Lael cycle has so far felt kind of like on the easier end compared to some of the stuff, especially we had last month. And I'm okay with the small breather because I'm sure the bullshit will be back all too soon with Cloud of Darkness cycle. Without Cloud of Darkness, good luck, I guess, is probably what it's going to feel like. Cool. Those are my thoughts. I'm back to you, Mark.
All right, yes, and it is 100,000 damage to break that yellow aura, that weight mechanic. So in launch, 100,000 damage. All right, so let's transition from Kurosame's Lost Chapter to what we're going to talk about next with our interlude. And as we begin our interlude, I think this is a new part of the show, it's only fitting to have a word from our sponsors. Hey, friends, it's been a long pandemic. You haven't been going out very often. You haven't been seeing other people. And let's be honest, your personal hygiene may have suffered in those long, cold, isolated months. So, what you need to do, call your friend Dr. Squatch. Why? Dr. Squatch has all kinds of personal care products, soaps, shampoos, conditioners, toothpaste, even deodorant. All natural, scientifically designed, but also good for our environment. And a very special crossover, Dr. Squatch, and my second favorite thing besides Final Fantasy, Star Wars. So Disney films and Dr. Squatch have got this beautiful, beautiful gift set. Star Wars soaps that are just wonderful. In this collector's box, you can choose dark side or light side. Only Hope soap Wisdom Wash, Dark Side Scrub. The smell as I open it is just fantastic. So if you are a fan of the Star Wars and smelling like a god among men, go to Dr. Squatch and tell him the Crystal Chronicles sent you. Are they our sponsor? No, but I'm trying really hard. So if you do buy some soap, tell them we sent you, because I am pursuing that. Thank you all. And thank you to our sponsor, Dr. Squatch. Now, as we move from Kurosawa to Dimensions and Transcendence, Tier 3, there has been a hashtag. That soap smells really good, by the way. Taking storm all over the DissidiaFFOO universe, and that is hashtag fixkadaj.
Oh my God!
Hashtag,
are we really talking about that?
Hashtag fixkadaj. So part of our interlude every week is to highlight great content creators who are doing great things, and so there's a number of videos that have popped up. Kaiden. Who is Kaidan, Kaidan, posted a really interesting YouTube video where he compared Kadaj's effect to Desh's effect, which their EX charges are exactly the same, talked about the same in game and everything else, and obviously work different. And our friend RFK did a little video. Indolent Lard did a video. Black Nero talked about it last night on his ranting hour. Crispy Gaming did a video today. And apparently Necklord got into it on main card, and I was not around for that. So I'm sure that got a little spicy. But
Dreamy, a lot of, yeah.
We have talked about this time and time again. We know Kadaj is broken. Now, Joshua did say on stream, Joshua's our community manager, and he's just a messenger. He's not a dev. He doesn't make the game or write the code. He did say he was sharing it, but there has been a situation of really never telling us if it is a bug or not. It's never been announced in-game as an issue. And if you don't know, Kadaj is broken. I mean, it's definitively, the argument that it's not broken and it's working right is just total BS. And Squex just needs to be honest about it. It's like a little kid as a parent. It's like a little kid lying to you. Did you break that? No, and you know because you have video cameras in your house because it's 2021, people. Come on. Like, I don't even need eyes in the back of my head. I have video cameras everywhere in my house. So, like, seriously, folks, you can't hide from stuff. And it's kind of like a little kid's, I didn't do it. Yeah, well, we know it's broken. It's not working. It doesn't charge when you press the button. As we said earlier, a 30% diminished recharge rate. It's not working. So just say it's not working. We're sorry. Here's 1,000 gems. We'll fix it later. That's all. Yeah, my house is terrifying. No, you know, it's 20. We got cameras everywhere. But even before that, you know, kids are not the swiftest. We're not smart when we're little. And so we said, no, I didn't break this. And no, I didn't paint the wall with red paint. My hands are covered in red paint, right? I mean, you know, our child brains don't always work real well. But, you know, I don't get it. The communication is not great here with Squex. I love this game. I want it to do well. I don't see why we can't have honest communication. Yes, it's not working well, or I don't really know why it's doing what it does. But we know it did work well in Japan for a while, and we've seen it in dev footage. Oh, that's just dev footage. No, like, we get it. Stop making excuses. You know, stop kind of going back into the corner and pretending it's not an issue, and just say it's an issue. And so just to amplify the message, let it out. Just let us know. We're not saying, you know, we understand things take time. And if there's some weird code that's not working, it might take some time to fix it. We get it. But it's broken. And so acknowledge that it's broken. Don't pussyfoot around it, and let us know. Because why? Because this is a service. This is something we pay for. Now, yeah, you might be free to play, but I'm not. I pay money for this. I have Kadaj. I actually like Kadaj. Advent Children is a favorite movie of mine. And I would love if Kadaj worked correctly. I've talked about him. I like his kit. I like how he works. He is very hurt by that charge. 30% is a big deal, as we talked about earlier. And so it's just frustrating that there's not open communication and honesty on the part of this company. Companies get in trouble with this all the time. And people do as well in your life. It's always better to be honest about things like this. It never works out for you in the long run, especially when you're dealing with an organization like this or a company or a product. Let us know. But regardless if it was free to play or not, things should work correctly. Kadaj is not working correctly. Hashtag fixkadaj. Arrow, any thoughts on this?
You kind of nailed it, mostly what I was going to say. Like, my biggest issue though is that most characters have a 2-month window of viability, and we know his future with his last chapter. He gets his blue armor, I think. I don't even know. I don't even know if that's all he gets or whatever, but it's not much. And like the last chapter is not even going to be about him. It's going to be about Maria when she gets her LD. So like, let people enjoy their character. And the fact that they're not saying anything can really upset some people. I also attribute some of the divisiveness to there was, he was a central character. I've actually seen this happen before with the Lion EX bug. And that took them a long time to fix, and it was never addressed in game. And I just felt like this has been a repeat of all that. But this time it's a bigger deal to a lot of people because it is a far more popular character. Now, I'm not saying he's Tifo or Cloud or Sephiroth or Squall or all those other really big guys popular, but he's kind of like, popular enough. People like FF7. And to, not just to say, oh, we've sent the feedback, other games are quicker about this. They go, yeah, that's not working, or, well, that's how it's supposed to work. They just tell you. And that would be where it's at. And I agree, Mark, they need to say something because, this is bad. We have another community stream coming up, and supposedly it's supposed to be very hype, but now they're going to have to deal with is all this bad press about Kadaj, and I can't understand why they are being so like unresponsive about this, and that's pretty much all I got to say. I get where some of the people's anger are, but guys, like, just make sure you're not being insulting to other people. That's my main thing. Like, I understand if you're frustrated, but make sure you're directing that frustration correctly. Don't do it where you're you're saying terrible things to people or calling them like stupid or you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of like back and forth in like certain other communities where like they were just being awful to each other, and it's like that's not what it's about. Don't be helpful to each other. Expect better from these companies because, like you said, Mark, it is a service. People pay to wail on these characters, and they deserve a character that works correctly. That's pretty much it. And if it's going to take a while to get that character working correctly, be honest about that. People will respect that far more than you trying to hide behind, closed doors. It's just the nature of these kinds of games and things. That's my thoughts. I'm going to pass it over to Mino if he has anything to say or add to all of this.
All right, so I'm getting fucking deja vu. I thought we talked about this last week, Mark, but then again, I've talked about this for so long over the last 2 fucking weeks on so many people's fucking channels because I don't have my own. And so I'm not sure what we've covered already, but let me cover Mark's bases first. First is two corrections. I think Mark was a little on Josh here. Let's all acknowledge Josh is just a community manager. He's just a messenger. He's not the devs. So let's not actually place blame on Josh. He might just be following orders from the top. This is mostly Square Enix and devs. It's not a campaign aimed at Josh. It's a campaign aimed at, hey, Square Enix, like, you should know better to at least address this shit, or at least allow Josh to address that shit. That's one. The second thing is, so the argument is, to give the nerd details on this, when we did the research, is what happened was in JP, on Kadaj's launch, he was bugged so that his AA was charging summon and EX meter. where AAs aren't supposed to do that. AAs don't charge summon meter, they don't charge EX meter. His was charging both. So somewhere BC said through all the research, they narrowed it down. This happened somewhere between Titus BT and Queen's Event. Somewhere along the way, they tried to fix it. And we reached out to data miners, Helicopters. Shout out to Helicopters who runs Compendium. He looked into it, and Kadaj's EX is now tagged as an AA. So AAs don't charge the meters. So now his AA correctly does not charge the meter, but his EX is tagged as a AA. So now when you use his EX, it doesn't charge the summon meter or his EX recast. So so the narrative here, so Helicopters threw out a theoretical, and Josh has said the same thing. Maybe this is a balance patch. We don't know this is a bug. This could be a balance patch. This is literally something Josh has said, and Helicopter said maybe this is a balance patch as well. Here's the thing. If it is a balance patch, they should have fucking said something, right? Nothing was said in both versions. So if this isn't if this is a bug, please say it's a bug. And I went on this rant earlier in our server today and earlier this week, right? Like and last week on the podcast, the communication in this game used to be stellar. We used to get apologems for every little thing. Hey guys, servers took 10 minutes longer to come up on the bridge. Here's 100 gems and some artifacts of knowledge.
It doesn't take much. Doesn't take much.
Yeah. Now it's, hey guys, these debuff guys were bugged. Here's a partial fix. We'll get to the rest later. Enjoy your day, right? Like that's how big the difference is. Like Mark said, as a quote unquote day one player, this is something they would have thrown 100 apologems for easily back in the day. Apologems, they threw apologems literally like every other week for anything. Now the communication is less. As I said last week, the reason Josh is famous is because he used to be in main court every day on the subreddit every day, answering threads in in streams, talking to people on main court, talking to people. Now it's less and less. Apologems are a thing of the past. I used to say we used to get the acknowledge issues in the game every patch. Now we barely get them unless we raise a stink. So let's be honest. Any fucking DFFOO veteran knows the communication used to be stellar. And even if you can say that this is acceptable levels of communication, we're just used to much better, right? We're used to much better communication. So the drop-off is very, very, very fucking noticeable. So here's the thing. If this is a bug, all we're asking for is acknowledgement that this is a bug. If this was a stealth nerf, then that's even more disgusting because you're nerfing things stealthily. If you told us that things were getting nerfed, sure. But if you're nerfing things, not announcing it, then when the nerf is discovered saying, hey, this could be as intended, means we wanted to do this all along. We just didn't want to tell you about it. That's way fucking worse. So this is a PR fucking nightmare because either acknowledge the bug or acknowledge that you're stealth nerfing shit. And again, it wouldn't be a big deal in both cases if you communicate it. If you said this is a bug, we acknowledge it, we're working on it, no big deal. If you're saying this is a nerf, we're telling you right now, Kadaj is a little strong. We're actually gonna nerf him a bit. No big deal. The fact that you're hiding both, like I don't give a shit what you're saying, if this is a bug or a nerf. The fact that you won't tell us one way or another, that's the real fucking sin here, right? Next thing you know, hey, guys, Tifa's actually doing too much damage. Oh, I think they did this in JP, right? Like, Zach is doing too much damage. His modifiers are actually, there's an extra 0 on his skill 2. This happened in JP when his rework came. His skill 2 had an extra 0 on the potency. I don't know if that got fixed or not. JP players in chat can let me know. But the point is, like, they wouldn't acknowledge it. They stealth change shit. The point is, you set a standard for the communication. Now it's fallen off. And call out to Josh again. Josh, if you want to be so involved in the community, stop hiding behind your Simpson main court and Tonberry Troupe. Come at us, right? Like, we're not gonna fucking look the other way. Like, you want to talk? Like, TCC Discord, this is where all the people hang out to break apart your game. Like, you wanna get real feedback and not like media you can control and puppet, then come talk to us, right? And so look, either way, mishandling. And to the back up what Mark is saying, like if you don't care about kadaj, look, I know that like there's been a lot of articles written about how empathy is something that autistic and low IQ people lack, right? It's really hard with your limited thinking capacity to put yourself in other people's shoes. If it was a popular character that got hit, if this was Cloud, say Cloud's S2 wasn't making secondary targets launchable, right? You guys would throw a fit. The whole thing like, oh, I didn't pull kadaj, so why should it fucking matter? Get the fuck out of here. Holy shit. You must be anti-maskers too, making my job a living fucking hell day to day right now. But like, no. Like, let's get the issue straight here. It is 100% a communication issue. I don't care if they fix it anytime soon. I don't care if it takes 8 months to fix it. At least acknowledge it, because otherwise you're ruining consumer confidence. A lot of people don't want to spend money on things you're stealth nerfing or breaking and not fixing and hoping it passes. Right? Like that's just a shit approach. Back to you, Mark.
Yeah, again, you know, we want the game to work well. We want the characters to be well, and we can do so in ways that are you have to take what Mino says with a grain of salt. Obviously, I'll have to go back and listen to what he said, but I am sure he's not trying to offend any community, let alone the autistic community. Or anything else. So,
that was factual. That wasn't an insult. That wasn't an insult, Mark. They, you know, like there's just limitations. That's a factual thing. I meant no disrespect to the autistic community or the low IQ community, room temperature IQ community, right? Like, so that's, yeah.
Well, and don't attack Josh or anybody else. Just keep going and, you know, keep the hashtag going, keep the videos going, you know, keep the looking into it and helping it and making sure that we're letting people know when things go into ways that are, you know, there you go. But yeah. All right, well, let's transition from fixkadaj to Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 3. We had a support campaign for this that gave a triple LD BT banner, Paladin Cecil, Sephiroth, and Warrior of Light. Each of them got something, although they got different somethings. And so I'll go through all of them and then pass it to Mino and Arrow for thoughts on them. Paladin Cecil only got his armor. Oh, hold on. Final ASIM, are the TCC people planning to do anything on their next Squex stream, as in write something in the Twitch chat or the likes? I am not planning on doing anything. I usually am, you know, working or doing other things while that is going on. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there are some people obviously are going to hashtag fixkadaj in their stream. If you want to do that, you can do that. You know, I think the you know, just again, we talked about it last week, but because it's hitting again, wanted to talk about it this week and really, you know, kind of share again. It's a problem. It should be addressed, whether it's working as intended or it's not. I can't imagine it's working as intended. And so just to continue to say, hey, be honest with us, what's going on, and, you know, some communication would be great. And moving forward, hopefully it can be better. So Paladin Cecil got his blue armor. At this point, I wouldn't encourage anybody to actually blue his armor unless he's one of your absolute favorite characters. And even then, probably okay to wait until he is whatever BT plus he'll get in the future. And so that's the only upgrade Paladin Cecil got. Sephiroth did get a rework. He now actually does AoE hits and splash damage on his skill 1 and skill 2. I think AoE split damage on skill 1 and splash damage on skill 2. And so he does more AoE damage as opposed to single target damage. His debuff from his LD is now gold frame, so it can't be dispelled or insuned off of the characters, which is really cool, off of the enemies. And he's doing a lot more damage. So he's back up into damage contention with a lot of other characters in this current content. So Sephiroth becomes a lot more useful. Warrior of Light got the most with a level 80 in LD boards. He basically, nothing really changed in his kit, but he did get boosts to everything. So everything he does, he continues to do better. A lot more party support in terms of damage up and more auras. He still is doing his damage reduction. He's still doing shields. He's still doing everything he does. He does a little bit more damage than he used to do, but he's providing a lot more to the party with his batteries, with his damage up, with his just everything. HP damage up, overflow, brave damage, brave regen. That's what I was looking for. There was something big I was forgetting. Brave regen. Of course, you can check out Tonberry Troupe for all these beautiful infographics, as well, TonberryTroupe.com. But yeah, Warrior of Light probably got the most of the three. I will say this, just kind of before I pass it to Mino, on these three characters. I have them all, so I didn't pull on the banner. If you're a new player, this is a great banner. If you are missing, so if you're a new player, this is unlike the Start Dash campaign, which is Cloud, Lightning, and Squall. So on that banner, you pull, you get one of the characters and invest in them. Maybe one of them's your favorite, you get them, great. But they don't work together well as a team, right? As a single banner, this works okay as a team. It's not the best team, but you have a defensive character in Warrior of Light, who's providing a lot of auras. You have Paladin Cecil, who's providing Enchant and Peril and additional auras and healing, both Warrior of Light, Paladin Cecil healing, Warrior of Light damage mitigation. Sephiroth's doing great damage debuffs. So, I mean, you kind of got a full package in one banner as a new player. It's really going to help. Scott says, I got 3 Lufania clears with them as a team. So, yeah, so there you go. So Mino, what do you think about these 3 characters?
As you said, so Sephiroth got kind of a Squall glow up, right? Like people have been running Squall through a lot of things. It's a very good rework. I believe Sephiroth's in the same place. He's got the golden debuffs again, which is a big thing. Replacing Kadaj, so they don't have to fix him. And Wall got the biggest thing, which he can now run on a lot of current teams, which is HP damage up with his shields and brave damage taken reduced. He's got much stronger auras, but the HP damage up, I think it's 20% for party, 50% for himself, and brave damage taken minus 40% on top of his shields. Just makes him a solid pick. That's in general. Mark, I don't know. You called this a garbage time, sort of. Would you use these characters, or would you use shinier toys instead moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think moving forward, right, and that's like moving forward, you're always going to use the newer characters, right? So if you have one of these, I mean, if you have 2 of these, I don't think you should be pulling on this banner. If you have one of these, it's kind of a hard sell for me. If you don't have any of them, I think it's a good banner to pull on. If you have all 3 LDs but none of the BTs, I'm not really sure that I mean, there's some argument. We don't quite know what all the BT pluses are going to do, but they're all useful. So there's some argument to pull just if you don't have any of the BTs to try to get as many BTs as you can. But I don't know. Again, yeah, how many in the next couple months are you going to use these characters very much? Probably not. I mean, let's be honest.
I think BC said that if you're missing even 1 BT, he thinks you should throw 125k gems at this, because 9% chance for a BT means a lot of dupes for tokens, if nothing else. A chance for the BT, and that all of these are getting BT pluses in the future, right? So that's his argument, just to put that out there.
And Black Nero wants to just asterisk that if you have a lot of gems. So if
you have like Mark level gems.
Yeah, if you have Mark level gems.
Can I cut in real quick, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we were talking about Wool may not see a lot of use, but I know Final ASIM is big on Wool, and I can tell you there are two characters in this game you will always want in the back pocket of your roster. And Warrior of Light is one of those two. Cloud is the other, in my opinion, because whenever these two come back, or even when they're not even fully relevant, there's always ways to make these two work. And when they need to be used for the utilities they bring, they are absolutely top notch for their battles. It's just hard to argue to tell any player not to pull for Warrior of Light and Cloud.
No,
like,
I mean, I think Warrior of Light, I don't know anybody said skip on that.
I really want to tell people, like, if you are missing Warrior of Light in your roster, that is worth 70k gems to me on this banner. And his LD call and base call are very, very helpful in a couple of situations as well, especially if you're missing other damage mitigation options. Especially like 9 or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Warrior of Light is, I think, definitively
very good character.
Warrior of Light is definitively the best of this banner, and the best character of the three, I think. But yeah, I mean, again, you can live without him, but yeah, it depends on your gems and where you are with these banners. Looking at the podcast polls, we got 3 people willing to pity the BTs, 11 the pitying the LDs, 5 using gems, 12 tickets, and 119 skipping. So a lot of people skipping this particular banner. So it kind of depends on where you are, whether it's worth. Yeah, he is the prize of the banner, but definitely. But yeah. Can you get by without him? Obviously, at this point, we've had Warrior of Light so many times. I think you probably you might already have him. But if not, yeah, definitely. If you're a newer player, this is a great pickup. These triple BT LD banners are great pickups if you don't have any of these characters. 100%. All right, well, let's move to what we just got today, which is also Porum. Before we get to Transcendence, there was no content with that banner. That was just a banner. So there was no content, no co-op, nothing else. We get everything today. We get Transcendence Tier 3. I believe there's a co-op as well. So yes, there's a new event right now. There was not an event with the triple banner. There was not an in-game event. There is currently an event. So they were also synergy for the LC. Thank you. That is very true. But yeah, the new event is with the Porum banner, and that does give us Transcendence Tier 3 challenge quest and some token challenges. You can see this Faceless Lingering, hard, and normal. Those are the regular events, and then Transcendence Tier 3 is the other event. But the banner is the last on the Lael cycle. And that is a new character, Porum's LD. So let's talk about Porum. Oh, Porum. I hate Porum. Hey, just FYI, we are doing a thing because if you don't know, I do hate Porum. I hate Palom and Porum. They're my least favorite characters from Final Fantasy IV, which is one of my favorite Final Fantasies. And I hate them to death. But
how many subs are we at, Mark?
We are at 17 subs. So I am going to ticket 10 tickets for every sub. If we reach 40, I will go to gems until we get her LD. So we'll wait till the end of the show. Yeah. We're at 17. So if you want me, wherever we're at the end of the show, that's when I'll start pulling. So we're almost done with the show. So if you want a sub, gift a sub, prime, whatever it is, every sub counts as one towards that 40. We're at 17 out of 40. And if we go to 40, I'll immediately switch to gems and use my precious gems to pity this. And I will use her on Transcendence Tier 3 with her brother. That was if I get to 40.
That's a waste, Mark. That's such a waste.
What's a waste?
You can save Porum for much harder tiers. Come on.
No, whatever.
Yeah, you're right. You pull everyone anyways.
We're only at 17. We're not going to get there. So that's only if I get 4.
Look, man, 170 tickets is already worth. Do I have a sub?
170 tickets is a lot. So if you're not familiar with Porum, I almost said Kryl. If you're not familiar with Kryl, she's a better character, and you should have her already. Kryle's great. I've been using Kryl a lot recently. I really, really think you should have picked up Kryl instead of Ash and instead of Porum. Kryl's great. Porum doesn't do damage. So that's her big gimmick. She presses buttons that don't do anything. It's a lot of fun. That's kind of fixed now, but that was her thing before. She cried, and then she sparkled, and then she had a thing that did some stuff. But now she has an LD. And what's her Well, so Kryle's big thing, if you weren't familiar with how she does huge HP damage mitigation. She does healing, brave damage. I think she has HP regen and healing and tons of battery. But her big thing was giving this HP damage taken 70% buff on the party. And so that's big. Big stuff. Really, really useful. And now that becomes even more of a thing because with her LD, she heals, she batteries, she actually does damage, and she gets a follow-up that actually dumps her brave. She still doesn't do, I don't believe, any brave hits. No, her LD does do brave hits. I don't think her follow-up does any brave hits. No, it does kind of a gravity effect. It reduces all targets brave by her HP. And then does HP damage. So only her LD does. So she has 3 attacks that do brave hits. Everything else doesn't, which makes her a great pair with characters that like to break a lot, obviously, like her brother. Actually, they're really a good pair. Drew Sane does a great video. Our friend Drew Sane, check out his video on YouTube. Wanted to shout him out tonight. Going through, he's a big fan of Porum and been using Porum since her part of the game. So she gets that as well, and she gets Party Last Stand now. So if you can't survive that, DissidiaFFOO Drew Zane, thank you. It is DissidiaFFOO Drew Zane on YouTube. Check out that video. So if you, Drew Zane's a different channel. Thank you. So DissidiaFFOO Drew Zane, and that will bring you to that Porum video and other videos as well. If that party damage mitigation can't help you, that Last Stand party can help you quite a bit. And she does have that RNG Confuse as well. Unfortunately, yeah, you're going to be hitting basically skill 1 and then skill 2 when you need to hit them, and then EX when it's up, and LD to refresh buffs, skill 1 and skill 2 to refresh buffs, and then HP plus. So she's not a fairly difficult character to play, and she doesn't do much in terms of active things, but she does sit there and helps you not die. Mino, before I give any thoughts, do you want to kind of jump in? What's your thoughts on Porum? She's been hyped, Lufania plus. So what are your thoughts on Porum here?
You didn't give your thoughts yet? I thought you were going to go all the way through.
Yeah, no, I can. So she's been super hyped. She's going to be great in Lufania plus. She does, brave gains that are going to help. She does the damage mitigation, which is going to help. You can give her that blue armor and give her Paladin Cecil Spheres, and so she's just gaining brave all the time. And she's a lot, Party Last Stand is great, all this kind of stuff. It's super, super great. The problem is there was a lot of hype without saying that, yeah, you can use her now, but you don't need to use her now in this current era at all.
Yeah.
Like you're probably never going to use her because you're going to be using much more aggressive teams. She is very, very, very defensive. And so you're not going to use her for 2 months. And by the time you get to Lufania Plus, you probably won't need her. And if you're going to be pulling for characters like Cloud of Darkness and Tidus and Yuna and Agrius and Setzer, like, she doesn't play well with a lot of those characters, and you probably won't need her. Now, if you got a lot of gems and you really aren't real good at the game, then yeah, you skip Porum, wait for Aiko. Aiko's a much better Porum. It's much more fun to play and just revives the entire party, so that's much better. But like, she can help you through content and keep you safe through content for a while in Lufania Plus. But I don't think you need her, and you probably won't use her until then. So yeah, if you're not really good at the game, she can help you. Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. We all have different play levels, different skill abilities in this game. You wouldn't think this is really a skill-based game, but it is, obviously. And so, if you really kind of want that, it's not an easy button. She's not an easy button. She doesn't make content easy, and she won't carry you through anything, but she can help prevent mistakes from ruining your runs. Let me put it that way. if Porum is on a well-built team with other powerful characters, she can make up for some of your play mistakes. And if that's something you need, then I think that's fine. I think the vast majority of you will not enjoy her because she's not super fun to play at all. She doesn't do anything. She literally doesn't do anything. She's one of the only characters in the game where you press damage or press a button and she doesn't do any damage. So she does do it with her follow-up now, but I mean, I just don't. You'll be fine without her, 100%. And there's other better characters, and we'll get to Cloud of Darkness because we've been talking about probably she's overhyped too, as a lot of these characters in the next couple months are going to be overhyped. But yeah, Mino, what do you think?
Thanks for covering more of that, Mark. Just to double down, for new players, I think Porum is great. Easy, like 0 difficulty. Very, very acceptable auras. And as you said, like Party Last Stand, overheals, huge HP damage reduction, like huge. For new players, this is a great, great safety net. Insanely defensive character. For the immediate future, so this is a case where JP Foresight serves us really well, right? Because when she dropped in JP, people didn't think much of her because the current content was not tailored for her. Yeah. Lael's cycle has turn counts. They can be tight if you're not current on your roster. Tidus is coming up. His cycle has insane turn counts. And so people found themselves not using Porum very much. They pulled Porum. They found them not using her very much for the next 2+ months. Then Loof Plus comes and they're like, oh shit, okay, so this character is actually useful for the next power creep now. And this is very similar to like Renoa for all you veterans. Renoa dropped right before Cosmos. They're like, do we really need to do Renoa level damage when we have like Golbez and Kuja? And then Cosmos came and then she was, blowing through that. So it's one of those things where the use of the character is not very immediately apparent because Porum's biggest weakness has and always will be not very turn efficient. Period.
Yeah, and Scott reminded me, I forgot. I can see it here on the infographic. You actually have to use her regular skills to get her plus variants, just like her brother. So you have to basically, and it's, and she doesn't have, it's not like Tifa where you press Tifa's skill 2 and it's instant turn rate, free turn. No, Porum doesn't get any of that crap. So you just got to press it and it sucks. It's just awful.
And then she just sits there afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Porum is not immediately useful. So Mark has famously said on our Discord server, I can't wait for all the Porum was overhyped threads.
They're coming.
So many people are so convinced that the Porum overhyped threads are coming because she is not good for the current content. When you pull COD, when you pull Tidus, when you pull the very up-to-date DPSers like Sabin and stuff, you're gonna be like, why would I use Porum ever? None of these people synergize with her. None of these are huge Brave Gain people, which what her big thing is. People are gonna be like, if they don't get any turns, if I'm using COD's delays with follow-ups and Tidus's off-turn damage, and the enemies aren't getting any turns, why do I need this safety? She's lowering my turn count. Her use will not be very apparent. She's not good.
You brought up a great point with the Cloud of Darkness, because we're going to talk about Cloud of Darkness overhype, but at least Cloud of Darkness is a 2-week synergy LDBT, so you're going to use her for 2 weeks and get use out of her. That ain't the case with Porum, so like at all. So it's going to be worse, right?
I got a lot to say too when you guys for it, because
and so here and here's the other thing, right? Here's the other thing. A lot of people are like, I'm gonna pull Porum for Lufania Plus. She is on a list of characters that are very good for Lufania Plus, but there are other characters on that list as well, and this is what I really, really want to hammer in. First is Porum and Setzer both are the pre-Lufania Plus champions for Lufania Plus. I understand that. Porum is for Brave Gain teams, and she's the very first character that increases batteries.
Yeah.
She's the very, very first character that enhances batteries, and Setzer enhances brave damage. So Setzer Porum are diametric opposites. They should not be on the same team, but I get if you want to pull both, because if you ever need a brave gain team for Lufania Plus, or if you ever need a brave damage team for Lufania Plus, I get that. But the other hyped characters, there is some clash. That, like, Agrius provides the exact same amount of bravery gain bonus. So does Ish BT Plus. And I ran this take through a bunch of people, and yes, Ish's is on BT Plus effect. It's shorter, but a lot of times you finish the fight without even needing extra. That's one thing. And yes, they have little nuances, as in Porum has true damage brave shave, Agrius has the paralyzes, Ish has other stuff. Yes. But most people pulling for Porum don't know this shit. They're just looking at Porum is OP. They're just looking at the brave gain bonus, and 2 other hyped characters will provide the same bonus. And unless your name is Alphano, you're not running all 3 of them on the same team. All right, he's fucking done it, okay? But on average, you don't. That's too much overkill. That's like Root and Furion on the same team. Like, it was possible, but it was a lot of fucking overkill. And so, for a lot of people who think she's a must pull and don't know why, it is the brave bonus. Yeah. There are 2 people coming before and on Lufania Plus that will provide the same thing. So you can think, do I like Porum better? Do I like Agrius better? Did I pull Ishtola BT early because of her plus for some fucking reason? Like, then you gotta weigh, like, your resources, right? Like, most people are living 75k gems or 75k gems. Do you really need all 3 battery enhancers? And for that question, I pose to you, why not pull a character that's closer? If this is the only reason you're pulling Porum, why not pull a character closer? Right? Like, why not pull Ishtola BT Plus when the difficulty jump happens for a BT Plus, which is super invaluable. Lufania Plus is all about BT Plus stacking, a BT character as well. Why not pull Agrius, who does far more damage as well? Doesn't have the same utility, but can provide the same role if that's all you're looking for. Why not do that instead of pulling a character you're just going to sit on and maybe use later? Right? That's just something you want to ask yourself. And this is just something we're throwing out to people who are pulling OP meta characters without knowing why they're OP meta, right? And very lastly is, for the artifact debate, settling it here on stream once and for all, it is Max Brave and C50. The HP artifacts are for idiots, because her follow-up true damage is a 1-to-1 ratio to HP damage. So if you increase her HP by 1,000, she's doing 1,000 more brave shave per follow-up. That's stupid. Whereas where you do the max brave, that scales on the battery, and there's tons of buffs that, increase max brave, right? She increases her own max brave by 85 fucking %. Don't get HP. That's fucking stupid.
I mean, if you're not a best in slot chaser, and you can mix max brave and HP with the C50. I mean, you definitely want 3 C50s, ideally 3 C50s max brave. If you got 2 C50s max brave and 1 C50 HP, you won't be the end of the world. But yeah, preference to max brave over HP 100%.
Yeah, and Retro Gamer saying, always good to have HP as a backup for everybody. We have 7 slots. Go nuts, Retro Gamer Dad. I'm not farming 2 sets of artifacts.
That's
you're nuts.
True.
No way. No way
true.
in hell.
Go ahead.
No way in hell.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Get
True
both.
Sane 2. You guys are nuts. Go touch grass.
Go touch grass.
Go ahead, Arrow. You had a lot to say.
Yes. Okay, so addressing the Alphana content creator. He did do a lot of Porum runs, but the thing is, it's a playstyle that's not going to be for everyone. It is a brave gain up thing. There is some, I guess, he's Ishtola with that. Like, there's some thinking behind all of that. And like, you're going, again, people don't play defensively in this game. They want to see big fat numbers from brave attacks, that like super mint, like tons of brave dumps. That's why people like, I don't know, Cloud of Darkness. I mean, she deserves her hype. Her BT plus is pretty dumb when it comes out. I mean, she throws really big numbers really easily. Same thing for somebody like Titus. somebody like Porum is not going to excite you like the same way. But if you are into that Brave Game playstyle, there will be a niche for you in early Louvre Plus for that. And if you want to play it now, it might work, but there's just not going to be a lot that will tailor to her. But on the flip side, we have Bart's. And like, I don't know if he just helps you out so much anyway with that kind of crap. I think there's some sort of niche to be said for it. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to play around with it a little bit. But my other thing is, I really want to stress that play style thing. This really matters. And I think that's where I don't like how this character plays. Why did I pity for her? They're going to come from. Because I think knowing the player base for global, it is actually different than JP. Like I've seen even not accounting for global first or like, minor changes like having the Sarah LD change. The things that are favored by our community aren't always going to line up with what they did over there. So I've noticed we tend to favor very aggressive play styles on our side where they're more, I don't know, I don't see it as quite as often when I watch JP vids. So something to bear in mind. I think Setzer's going to be something more people are going to like over Porum. And Setzer, even when he comes back, he is still, he's the same guy we all know and love with the freeze jokers and everything else. But since this is about Porum, are you into Brave Games? Are you into battery teams? Ooh, I don't know if most people are, so it's really hard for me to recommend her. And if you are looking for the newbie friendly banner, the triple BT banner is right next door to Porum. I would go to banner number 2 and tell any newbie to just go to pity up to 125K, get somebody's BT off that banner, and hopefully nail all the LDs along the way, because that is an amazing banner for any new player. Older players, this is going to be one of those, do you like what she does? Like, do you understand what she's doing? You're not just pulling because of hype. And honestly, yeah, it's like you compare her with other characters, but they're not really here yet, like the ones that she really wants. So she works fine on her own. But I like Porum. I've always thought the kit was very, very unique and strong in the game. And I'm very excited to pull for the LD after this podcast is over today. I'm going to blue her armor. In fact, I'm going all the way, baby. But I can't recommend this playstyle. There's a lot of nuances that are there if you want to get the most out of what it does, and not just, I want to herd their defense, eat up attacks kind of thing, And that's how I feel about this. I don't think most of the people hyping her fully understand what made her so good in Louvre Plus, and they're going to be sadly disappointed because she is not going to fit the play styles they tend to prefer, based on what I see, even just in general from players. Warrior Light, yeah, that's probably a lot more satisfying and good enough for most people. They aren't going to care about what Porum does. So those are my thoughts. And honestly, I'm just being fair about this character because I've seen so many people like overhyping what she does. And I just don't want them to pull and regretty spaghettis later. That's all, really. So back to you, Mark.
Yeah, she is hyped for Paladin Cecil Sphere. And Drew Zane said, I really enjoyed the Brave Gain up game and not versus the weakness crit game. I've been having to do that for the last 6 months, the weakness crit. I want to go back to the Brave Gain game. That's a tongue twister. Brave Gain game. And so, yeah, if that's something you really enjoy, then she's the girl for you. Looking at the podcast polls, which are only on 4 servers right now, since this is a newer banner, just launched here 43 minutes ago. 4 people willing to pity the BT on this banner. 13 pitying the LD, 2 using gems, 38 tickets, and only 12 skipping. So it seems just from this small sample size, a lot of people are going on Porum. So, and Mino said it took him 800 tickets. I don't know that I believe that, but we'll see.
You don't believe your own co-host? How fucking rude.
800 tickets is a lot of tickets. I didn't know you were even pulling.
I always pull. I'm like you, Mark. Like I said this last week. I guess I have to repeat it. We recommend one thing. We do different things. Like I'm like, look, if you only have the 75k gems, consider your options. But Mark and I literally pull on every banner. So because we're millionaires.
And if you can get people to pay for you to do it, even better. So, hey, we're not going to go through our distinct strategies, but I do want to talk about Dimensions on Transcendence Tier 3. We will talk about it next week again if we need to have any follow-up. But just to give you kind of the bare bones of Transcendence Entropy Tier 3, again, Transcendence is the final, or at least as the game is going right now, the final part of Transcendence, or our end game content, where you have each tier has 3 different slots, 2 gates, and a final in the middle, or 3 different areas. Each one has 2 sides that has, hey, thank you, Res Foina, for hosting. Each one has a crystal requirement on the left and the right, and you can use 3 different characters. You need to use 6 different characters across those 2 to get into the final, and then you can use 3 characters from each of those 2 for the final or reckoning group or Lufania. And if you bring a burst character, it provides synergy for everything. Besides that, there is no synergy. Resfoina, hope you're doing well. Everybody check out Resfoina on Twitch and YouTube. Been watching a lot of your pull videos on other games recently. Hopefully, if you pulled for Porum, you got her cheaply. And so check out Res's videos when that comes to fruition. So yes, so Transcendence Tier 3, which is the new one, you'll see on the left gate, we fight 3 ancestors. This is Gao's enemy. You need to bring yellow crystals. They have an orb, a Lufania orb, that is launch-oriented. They do constant AoE HP attacks. Yellow crystal and launch, guess who is your MVP? It is Lael, because that is what you... What is that thing in the middle? Retro Gamer Dad, we're going to talk about that horrible monster in the middle in a minute. Hold on. Just wait. We're going to get there. I promise. Yeah, Lael is definitely MVP, but we have a couple other launchers who are yellow crystals. That would be Tifa and Ramza. Other great launching characters. Fang. Fang is not on my list, although best of luck. Best of luck. Oh, I'd appreciate you watching your Fang run. Somebody can do it, so definitely. So pretty straightforward. They do a lot of AoE HP attacks. You need to launch them. Lael, definitely big on that. There's a lot of other characters that can do real good on that. On the right side, we have 2 King Behemoths, probably the easier of the 2 fights here on the left and right. You need a white crystal user. You have a damage reduction orb. So the only way for the orb to tick off is to reduce incoming damage. Interesting. Which means bosses need to take turns, so you can't delay everything to death. We have 2 characters who do this, who do HP damage reduction and are white crystals. They are Warrior of Light and Porum. Go figure. Again, just to make clear, just so you're aware about like really planning hard for Transcendence. Like, oh, you got to plan hard, got to look ahead 6 months to make sure. No, you just need to pull the characters that come out around Transcendence and you'll be fine because they are tiered and tempered towards those characters. Look you're going to bring Lael over here, Warrior of Light or Porum over here, and you're going to figure out how to use them both in the middle and you'll be okay. If you're trying to save on your resources. If you want to be more creative, be more creative. But we'll talk about that later. And Dissidia Info is going to have call to arms. It's going to be great. You're going to figure out. Yeah, well, I'm going to get there in a second, Arrow. But Porum, Warrior of Light, obviously the biggest ones there. 9 Guy are also options with the damage reduction. Galuf, Emperor, also good white crystal users here as well. So yes, lots of dip. The bosses also have an HP regen, which can be very problematic. Like any behemoth, they put buffs on. One of those buffs is a significant HP regen. So you either need to dispel it. You can use calls, Ferris, for example, or you need to have at least 4 frame debuffs to knock it off. So there are plenty of options with that. That's why Emperor is actually a good option here. He can knock those off. But you have there's plenty of calls, everything else to do that. Scott Ong actually has 3 videos on all of this if you want to go into detail, and it's going to have the guides. So DissidiaFFOO.com and Scott Ong work together. Macnell and Scott work together really well on that. So you're going to have to figure it out, or you're going to have ways to really dig into it if you're struggling. So left 3 ancestors, right 2 King Behemoths. Reckoning is a 2-wave with 2 spine clads and 2 snake pods. That horrible looking thing in the middle, Retro Gamer Dad, is a snake pod. It is a Medusa type enemy. Throw up a picture of it here. Yeah, it is a Medusa type enemy like the horrible Medusas that we fought. You love Medusas, don't you? Don't you miss wanting to fight Medusas? There you go. Of course you do. So Wave 1 has no Lufania Orb, but they do HP. They do a lot of AoE HP attacks, so HP damage is helpful. And you do need a launch occasionally. You don't need constant launching, but you do need some launching with that. Wave 2 has an HP regen orb, so that's a fairly unique orb. You need to have HP regen. Porum and Rosa Sphere, you can put pretty much on any character with a C Sphere, and that gives you HP regen, so that's fine. Or you can use Porum, Ash, Galuf, Iggy, all options there as well for HP regen. And then HP damage mitigation really helps, and Brave Gain really helps as well. We're hard selling Porum. Again, there's a reason she's on the banner. All the banners that come with Transcendence really do help Transcendence. So yes, Scott is, thanks, big shout out to Scott Ong. Scott is on our Discord as well as his Macnell and Tonberry Troupe and everybody. Actually, not only does Scott do all this research into these fights, he also runs these fights like 20 times. and he's usually doing like 3 or 4 TCC challenges. The guy's intense when it comes to these. I don't know that anybody quite understands Lufania mechanics and fights better than Scott. So if you ever really want to dig in and like learn about, like, I'm more interested in Lufania fights than I need to be, because my opinion is just pull things and it will be fine. You won't need that much. But like if you really want to start digging into it and you want somebody to dig into it with, come on our Discord, and Scott loves to talk Lufania and fight mechanics with people, so he'd love to do it. He's looking to do 3 reckoning runs per tier, so I'm planning to do 1. So those are the basics of the fight. Hopefully that will be enough to get you through. We can talk more about it next week. DissidiaInfo.com will have all of Scott's information on it as well, and other runs that you can check out as well. Tonberry Troupe has some information on their research. Anomander does a lot of research for them as well, so you can check that out. Mino, any thoughts on this or anything in preparation for this? We haven't done these fights yet, but anything in preparation?
I'm sure we'll dig into it next week. I very rarely look at these things ahead of time now, but I do spend a lot of time talking to Scott on the Discord. It's my fault. I wish I was like Mark. I wish it was a one and done thing, but I love nerding it up with the details. Fucking Scott. Scott, why are you even listening to this podcast? Like,
there's nothing you can learn from our podcast. Nothing worthless information.
Why are you here? But he shouted me out before, right? He's like, "Oh, Mino, thanks for the tip on the podcast. Oh, you said if brave damage reduction's too high, you should just battery through it. That inspired my Why are you listening to me? That's something you're gonna come up to by yourself. Like, I contributed nothing for that. But
it's like the older brother encouraging the smaller brother. Like, yeah, good job. You really hit that ball well. Good job. That's what we do. We try to encourage each other, build each other up.
Like that, you condescending prick, Scott, you son of a bitch. Oh, but no, Scott, yeah. So I haven't super looked into it. I'm sure we'll cover it more in depth next week. I'll steal Scott's notes, but this is widely considered if you have one or two of the synergy characters, you're gonna stomp through the shit out of this, and that's mainly Lael and Wall.
Yeah.
If you have those two,
Yeah,
it should not be a
Lael
challenge.
BT, Lael BT on left, Warrior of Light BT on the right. Yep.
Yeah, if you have both, or even just the LDs and then somebody else's fucking BT, this should be the easiest transcendence in history. So we'll probably touch on it, but I know I'm wasting my breath. You're all just gonna bring Lael and Wall anyways.
Yeah. There you go. Arrow, any thoughts on this before we do it?
I don't think I have too much to add, but yeah, this is just kind of like looking at the tier. It does look like the easiest of the three. You can do them in any order now, right? Like you don't have to start from tier 1. You could go to tier 3 and finish that one first if you wanted to, from what I understand of it. Quote, if you are a player, and I'm saying this wrong, I've heard something like that before. So if you are looking to get into Transcendence, this may be the tier to try it out for, because the mechanics, while yeah, they're still heavy because it's Transcendence, they may be the most easy to do with the mechanics involved. Like there's a lot of options for everything on both sides, and then even in the middle, you know. So if you're looking to get into it and you want some free gems, go ahead. This is your time, man. Try it out. You know, I always say try it out. Even if you fail, nothing wrong with that. You know, you got 2 weeks, to get these campaign rewards.
Yes.
You know, maybe beating just one tier can help you get the feel, get those toes dipped in the water, get you ready to do those other 2. I know there's lots and lots of players still who have not touched Transcendence at all, or even in Entropy. Hey, this is a great time to, you know, kind of get into it. Try it out. See where you're at with your roster and your skill capability. It helps. It's just, you know, something to do. And I think it's important to just always be testing the waters and trying new things out. Even if you're not sure, you can always succeed. Those are my thoughts. And
Thank you.
I'll probably have lots more to say next week about this tier once I've played through it.
Oh, hey, well, as we end today, let's do a few questions, and we'll have about 10 minutes maybe of questions. And so if you want to make me use gems, we're at 17 out of 40 subs. I am going to use tickets for every sub I get. And so unless you're bad, get Porum. Like if you're not good, just pull Porum, and you'll use her on tier 3. So great. Or save her for no, don't save her. Come on, ridiculous. Don't save her. Use her. Why not? If you don't use her now, you'll never use her again. So believe me, that's my bet here. If you don't use Porum on tier 3, you probably will never ever use her again. So hey, we're at 17. That's 170 tickets. If we get up to 40, by the time I start pulling, I'll move to gems. So feel free to throw a sub in there. Thank you all for your support. Appreciate that. A couple questions. Drew Zane asks, what small feature, nothing major, that you've enjoyed in another gacha could you see yourself enjoying in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia? Better company communication. Is that a...
Damn.
Is that a feature?
Damn. Have you really personally encountered that in other gachas?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, there are... yeah, I mean... There are a lot of gachas that are really fairly good at communication. I mean, look we just had Pokemon Go Fest. I don't play Pokemon Go anymore, but like the stuff that Pokemon Go and Pokemon Masters does for their community, kind of ridiculous actually. They just had Pokemon Go Fest in Chicago, which is a live fest, and they erected this giant Pokemon egg that had 3-dimensional Pokemon, and then you fought them. It's ridiculous the kind of community engagement they do. Now we do a lot of the work, right? We do a lot of the work. Tonberry Troupe, Dissidia, Scott, all of our content creators, all of our stream, we're doing the community building. We got great Discords. We have great communities. Well, we're doing that work, and that's great. We're doing that work. But just be out there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. There's a lot of things in gachas that are not very good, and Defo doesn't use a lot of those things. And so raids and guilds, and we have our own tower event, but resetting things, and yeah. So I don't know that there's any other particular, like, besides swimsuits, obviously we need more swimsuits. Yes, if more festival costumes, more seasonal costumes, more swimsuits. But Steiner swimsuit one, yeah, I could see that. Mino, any thoughts on some other things? I'm trying to think of like a feature that I've really enjoyed from another gacha game, but I don't know.
Yeah, I see my answer was deleted here.
Oh, yeah.
I've already answered in the channel.
Yeah.
I'm very upset to see I was censored. What I said was a lot of other games like Fate Grand Order or what else? Fire Emblem Heroes or that game that Arrow plays, Growlancer. There's like dating scenes. Where you raise your affection with your characters. Where's that in DFFOO? Or in Fate Grand Order, the characters shed more clothes as you MLB them. Same within that what's that anime game with the magic girl? Oh, forget it.
What's that anime game with the magic girl? Well, you just described 45 games.
I know. But okay, so I mean, serious answer though. All the criticism we levy at DFFOO, I still think it largely does
so much right.
It does a lot of things way better than other gachas. If I had to really pick something, it's that in other games like AFK Arena and Growlancer and shit like that, you could potentially farm MLB mats without any resources. It's over the course of months and months.
Yeah.
But the fact is that it's possible, right? It'd be the equivalent of farming, say, like, after 6 months you collect enough resources to pull an LD of your choice or something like that. It's the equivalent of that. A lot of gachas have it. It takes them almost a fucking year to do, but like Marvel Heroes has it. Fucking all the Marvel games. Growlancer has it. I play a lot of games like that. It'd be nice. I'm not asking for much. Like I said, end of the day.
I mean, there's a lot of other games that I've played that have a lot more like daily things that you have to do. But I mean, we've talked about this 100 times. I don't want that. Like, I'm okay with like going on and doing my daily cactuar and then 5 co-ops if I need to do those co-ops, and that's not always given. And then do the events when the events come. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not having like, oh man, I got to play this. I got to do 5 raids and I got to do 6 co-ops and I've got to do 5 PvPs and some of these, and you got to do all that every day to get everything. You can spend way too much time in a lot of those, and that's not why I play the game. But so I like 9 out of 10. I mean, literally for me, I mean like 9 out of 10 things when it comes to DFO, right on the money. Like, very few complaints. There's a reason I've been playing this game for 3.5 years compared to the other hundreds of, mobile games that I've played over those 300 years, or those 3.5 years. And even before then, I've been playing mobile games for quite some time, 7, 8 years now, 10 years now, maybe even. Jake says I would really like a jukebox, so you can listen to, music. Yeah. Some games allow you to customize music a little bit, or at least just go back and listen to the music, because there's some good music in this game, so it's not a bad idea. Arrow, any thoughts?
You aren't that old. Mark is extremely old. 40 years old, 1.5 foot in the grave.
Who said I'm not that old? Oh yeah, Lord, I am.
Roger. Jovial Roger, you must be 60 to think 40 is not that old.
Yeah, I am old. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I zoned out. What was the question in paraphrase mode?
Is there a feature from another mobile game that you would like to see in DFO?
Okay, so first of all, Mino, it's not Growlancer, which is actually a very excellent series. It's Landgrisser mobile.
Same shit.
Yeah. Growlancer is a series, and it's pretty good. I enjoy it a lot. But Landgrisser mobile, also, I have to hand it to their community managers. They do some pretty interesting interactions with their community. They really promote content creators. They even have they have like 2 different things. They have a thing where they have, I forget what they call them. Like, I think it's like the strategist or something. And these are CCs that they have basically picked from like applications and watching their channels and stuff as people that are giving you good information. They are reliable. These are people you can trust to watch and get good info on our game. Kind of like, and they promote these people quite often on Facebook and Twitter and etc. And the other one is they promote like artists, in fact, with what I think they called like the Art Academy or something. And these are people that like make art, and they get recognition for that. And there's like actual stuff they get, like they get a special title not only in game, but they also can get real life objects like just little doodads, like little figurines and things. But I think that's really cool. And like, I wish there was more done by the DissidiaFFOO community that kind of promoted the content creators more. And in a way, like, I wish they could do that. I think it would be fantastic. It would promote the game. It might be easier for players to know what's going on even. I don't know. That would be my wish for the game. I know it's a really weird one, but it is one I feel is lacking from other mobile games that I have played, recently and in the past. So that
Jake, I would still probably play the game without sound if I could do every once in a while. I turn the sound on because the music is great. Like if I'm playing a story chapter, especially like the actual story, usually the music is good, and sometimes there's nice musical changes. Generally, I don't play with sound on. I'm usually doing 3 or 4 other things when I'm playing DissidiaFFOO. So, but yeah, hey, you can always go to our Discord, podcast questions, throw out a question. We'll probably have time for a little bit more next week. The only thing on the calendar looking ahead is the Squex Community mobile stream on Monday. It's usually around 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hopefully we're going to hear about that big, not surprise, what was it? Whatever we're supposed to be looking forward to. Josh told us to look forward to the next stream, and so hopefully there will be looking forward to what we're looking forward to. I don't know what you're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to #fixkadaj. So stick around for the post show, and we will pull for Porum. Until next week, friends, this has been episode 159 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded July 22nd, 2021. Excuse me, July 22nd, 2021. There's a lot of 2s in that. Mark, for Arrow, Mino, all of you, best of luck on your Porum pulls and on Transcendence Tier 3. Until next time, #fixkadaj, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.